This investigation started on February 26th with the discovery of Mr. Hackman and Ms. Arakawa and their dog. Since that time, Xena, the deceased dog, has been taken for necropsy at the Veterinary Diagnostic Services, and we'll be awaiting those results.
The tragic discovery of Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy Arakawa in their secluded Santa Fe home has taken yet another unexpected turn. Just as the world mourned the loss of the legendary actor and his beloved partner, a stunning revelation has emerged. A handwritten note, allegedly penned by Betsy herself, has been uncovered by investigators. This note, found tucked away in an unassuming drawer in the couple's sprawling estate, has sparked intense speculation and sent shockwaves through both the entertainment industry and the quiet Santa Fe community where the couple lived in near total privacy.
As we know, both individuals tested negative for carbon monoxide. City Fire conducted tests and deemed scene safe for deputies to conduct their investigation. The preliminary pacemaker interrogation results.
The note, described as brief yet deeply emotional, is said to contain cryptic phrases that paint a picture of a woman overwhelmed by circumstances yet fiercely devoted to her husband. Though the exact wording remains under wraps, sources close to the investigation have hinted at its contents, suggesting that it may offer critical clues about the chain of events leading to the couple's untimely demise. The discovery of this note has left both authorities and the public grappling with new questions. What was Betsy trying to convey in her final written words? And could this note hold the key to understanding the eerie and unsettling circumstances surrounding their passing? On the surface, Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa seem to live an idyllic, if reclusive, life. Their Santa Fe home was described by friends as a haven of creativity and tranquility, blending Southwestern charm with Gene's passion for art and Betsy's love of music. Yet behind the gates of their secluded property, it appears there may have been struggles that the public and even their closest friends knew little about. The note has shed light on Betsy's state of mind, hinting at a deep concern for her husband's health and an overwhelming sense of responsibility as his primary caretaker in his later years. Gene's age and declining mobility were no secret, and Betsy was widely known to be fiercely protective of him, especially during the recent global health crises. Could the weight of caregiving have taken its toll on Betsy, leading her to pen this emotional message?
Let's speak a little bit in reference to the timeline for Betsy Arakawa. We know from our investigation that on February 9th, 2025, she picked up Xena from Gruta Veterinary Hospital. There was a procedure that was done with the dog, which may explain why the dog was in a crate at the residence.
The details surrounding the note's discovery are almost as mysterious as its contents. According to insider sources, the FBI was called in to assist local authorities after initial investigations into the couple's passing raised more questions than answers. During a meticulous search of the home, agents stumbled upon the folded piece of paper hidden inside a drawer in Betsy's personal desk. The note, though unsigned, is believed to have been written in Betsy's handwriting, confirmed by preliminary analysis. What's more intriguing is that the note was accompanied by what investigators are calling intentional arrangements of personal items, including a photograph of the couple with their dogs and a small stack of Gene's favorite books. This discovery has fueled speculation that Betsy may have left behind a carefully curated set of clues for those who would eventually find her and her husband. One phrase reportedly found in the note has captured the most attention: "I did everything I could." These words, simple yet haunting, have sparked a flurry of theories. Some interpret them as a reflection of Betsy's struggles to care for Gene in his final years, while others see them as a cryptic hint at external pressures or circumstances beyond her control. Could Betsy have been alluding to challenges within their personal lives? Or was she referring to something far more sinister, an external force or influence that had begun to encroach upon their carefully guarded world?
I think a lot of those questions are answered. I think the timeline that we've been given as far as the pacemaker results and the history and evidence that we found as far as the timeline of Miss Arakawa, I think a lot of the questions have been answered. We are waiting on the cell phones, but I would very unlikely that the cell phones are going to show anything else.
As investigators piece together the timeline of events, the note is becoming a central piece of evidence in an increasingly complex puzzle. Toxicology reports and autopsy results are still pending, leaving the exact cause of the couple's passing unclear. What is certain, however, is that Gene Hackman's pacemaker recorded its final activity on February 17, 9 days before the couple's bodies were discovered. Authorities are now working backward to determine what might have transpired during those critical days. The note, along with other evidence found in the home, including scattered medication bottles and a planner marked with cryptic entries, has led investigators to meticulously reconstruct the Hackman's final moment.
The question is whether there was any communication from Mr. Hackman or activity, and no, at this point, no. I don't know if he used cell phones or technology or emails. There's no indication of that. So right now there is no activity from Mr. Hackman.
Forensic experts have weighed in on the significance of the note, offering their interpretations of its meaning and its potential impact on the investigation. Dr. Michael Bodden, a renowned pathologist, suggested in an interview that the emotional tone of the note could point to Betsy feeling overwhelmed in her role as Gene's caretaker. When you're dealing with someone who has been under immense pressure, whether due to personal circumstances or external factors, these kinds of notes often represent a release of those feelings, Badden explained. The fact that it was hidden away rather than left out in the open suggests a level of internal conflict. Perhaps she wasn't entirely sure if she wanted it to be found. Adding to the intrigue, the couple's close friends have described Betsy as a pillar of strength and resilience, making the tone of the note all the more perplexing. Stuart Ashman, a longtime friend of Gene's, expressed his disbelief in an interview. Betsy was always so composed, so focused on keeping Gene healthy and active, Ashman said. It's hard to imagine her feeling this way. She was the type of person who would never let on if she was struggling. Ashman's words have only deepened the mystery, as those who knew Betsy best struggled to reconcile the note with the woman they thought they knew. Meanwhile, the public and the media have been captivated by the unfolding story, with theories and speculation running rampant. Social media platforms are flooded with armchair detectives dissecting every detail of the case, from the scattered pills on the bathroom counter to the peculiar placement of the deceased dog in a closet. Some have even speculated that the note might contain hidden codes or messages, drawing comparisons to Hollywood thrillers in which cryptic clues unravel larger conspiracies. Though these theories range from the plausible to the downright bizarre, they reflect a growing curiosity and frustration with the lack of concrete answers. Adding to the complexity is the couple's well-documented reclusiveness, which has made it difficult for investigators to gather information from neighbors or acquaintances. Residents of the gated Santa Fe community where the Hackmans lived have described the couple as kind yet intensely private. Few had seen them in recent years, and even fewer had any insight into their day-to-day lives. This lack of external perspective has only added to the challenge of piecing together the events leading up to their final days.
Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome is a rare disease caused by hantaviruses, but a small number of human infections are found every year in New Mexico.
As the investigation progresses, one question looms large. Could the note be a red herring, a piece of the puzzle that distracts from the true cause of the couple's passing? Or is it the key to unlocking the mystery that has enveloped their demises? For now, authorities are keeping their findings close to the vest, leaving the public to speculate and theorize. The discovery of the note has undoubtedly raised the stakes, transforming what was already a tragic and puzzling case into a narrative worthy of the silver screen.
We do have new details now on the stunning and very sad of actor Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy. The Santa Fe medical examiner revealing autopsy results that they believe show that Hackman died of heart disease with complications from Alzheimer's.
The note's implications are far-reaching, not only for the investigation, but also for how Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa will be remembered. For decades, Gene was celebrated as a titan of cinema, a man whose performances brought depth and nuance to every role he took on. Betsy, though less in the public eye, was known as a brilliant classical pianist and a fiercely loyal partner. The revelation of the note has added a layer of complexity to their legacy, prompting questions about what was happening behind closed doors in the final chapter of their lives. And the story of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa doesn't end with the discovery of the mysterious note. In fact, it's only the beginning of a deeper dive into the life of one of Hollywood's most extraordinary talents and his enigmatic retreat from the limelight. The more we peel back the layers of Gene Hackman's life, the more questions emerge, not just about his final years, but about the legacy he left behind and the whispers of secrets he might have carried with him. Could it be that Hackman's reclusive lifestyle was more than just a quest for privacy? Could it have been fueled by something much darker, something that even now remains hidden in the shadows of Hollywood's glitzy facade?
Just so shocking and heartbreaking, but investigators say it's unclear if Hackman knew that his wife of 30 years was for a week before he passed away.
To understand what might have been going on behind closed doors, we have to go back to the beginning of Gene Hackman's incredible life story. He wasn't born into fame or fortune. Far from it. Hackman grew up in Danville, Illinois, in a modest family that knew its fair share of struggles. His father walked out on the family when Gene was just a boy, leaving a lasting impact on him. Imagine being out playing in the street as a kid, only to see your dad drive by and wave as he disappears from your life forever. That's the kind of heartbreak Hackman carried with him, and it's not hard to see how that moment might have shaped the intense, layered performances he became known for. But Hackman wasn't the type to wallow in self-pity. At 16, he lied about his age to join the Marines, a decision that would instill in him a toughness and resilience that stayed with him throughout his life. After his service, he drifted to California and later to New York, where he studied acting alongside future legends like Dustin Hoffman and Robert Duvall. Can you imagine these three struggling actors hustling for gigs, sharing cheap meals, and dreaming of greatness? It's the kind of story that Hollywood itself is built on.
They say he was in an advanced stage of Alzheimer's, and it's possible he just didn't know. And some of what they said yesterday, just really as shocking as the revelation that Hackman and his wife to begin with. Some of the timeline, the fact that Betsy was seen on camera at a CVS pharmacy just shortly before she died, for some people that raises more questions than answers.
Hackman's big break came in 1967 with Bonnie and Clyde, where he played Buck Barrow, the doomed brother of Warren Beatty's Clyde. That role earned him his first Academy Award nomination and put him on the map. From there, his career took off in a way that most actors can only dream of. He became the everyman on screen, a face audiences could relate to, whether he was playing a tough cop in The French Connection, a paranoid surveillance expert in The Conversation, or the ruthless sheriff in Unforgiven. His performances weren't just great, they were transformative. And yet, despite his success, Hackman always seemed to keep one foot planted firmly outside of the Hollywood machine. Over the years, Hackman earned a reputation as one of the hardest working and most respected actors in the business. But he also had a reputation for being fiercely private, even prickly at times. Unlike many of his peers, he didn't bask in the glow of celebrity. He wasn't interested in the parties, the gossip, or the endless parade of red carpets. Instead, he focused on the work, pouring himself into every role with a dedication that bordered on obsession. By the time he retired from acting in 2004, Hackman had amassed a body of work that included nearly 80 films and 2 Academy Awards, not to mention countless other accolades.
Not many cases in the United States. It with multiple different symptoms. It can affect the pulmonary system, your kidneys, it can cause internal bleeding, and some symptoms that are similar to the flu, body aches, weakness, chills. It is not passed from person to person, and I want to stress this because the mortality rate is very high, but people don't need to worry about spreading this from one person to another.
So why would someone at the pinnacle of their career walk away from it all? That's the question that has haunted fans and insiders alike for years. Hackman himself gave a simple explanation. He was tired. The long hours on set, the constant travel, the pressure to deliver, it had all taken a toll. He wanted to spend more time with Betsy, to focus on his writing and painting, and to enjoy the quiet life they had built together in Santa Fe. And for a while, that seemed to be the end of the story. But there's another side to Hackman's retreat from the spotlight, one that's less about personal fulfillment and more about protecting himself, and perhaps those he loved. Rumors have swirled for years that Hackman knew things about Hollywood that others didn't want to get out. And when you start connecting the dots, those rumors begin to take on a life of their own.
So it's really hard to say clinically where he was on the continuum of Alzheimer's, but according to the medical examiner, there was evidence that his Alzheimer's was quite advanced. And considering his wife may have passed approximately a week before him, and, he was not able to call for help, we'll never know exactly.
Think about it. Hackman came up in an era when Hollywood was a very different place. The studios wielded enormous power, and the lines between personal and professional lives were often blurred. Hackman wasn't just a witness to that world, he was a part of it. He worked with some of the biggest names in the business, people who were later revealed to have been involved in scandals and cover-ups that shook the industry to its core. And yet, Hackman himself always seemed to stay above the fray. He wasn't a tabloid fixture. He didn't air his dirty laundry in public. He was, by all accounts, a consummate professional who kept his head down and did his job. But what if that professionalism was also a way of keeping secrets? There are stories, unverified of course, that suggest Hackman may have had knowledge of things that went on behind the scenes, things that could have damaged careers or even ended them. Some have speculated that his abrupt departure from Hollywood wasn't just about wanting a quieter life, but about distancing himself from an industry that he no longer felt comfortable being a part of.
Breaking news, actor Gene Hackman's cause of revealed. It is tragic, sad. Officials tonight say the actor's wife a week before Hackman.
And then there's Betsy. By all accounts, she was Hackman's anchor, the person who kept him grounded even as his career soared. But Betsy also had her own connections to the entertainment world as a classical pianist who once performed with the Honolulu Symphony Orchestra. Could she have known things as well? Did the couple's shared desire for privacy stem from a mutual understanding that some things were better left unsaid? The whispers surrounding Hackman's knowledge of Hollywood's secrets have only grown louder in the wake of his passing. Some have pointed to the couple's reclusive lifestyle as evidence that they were hiding from something or someone. Others have noted the strange circumstances of their final days, including the peculiar details surrounding Betsy's note and the condition of their home when they were found. Was their isolation a choice, or was it a necessity? It's worth noting that Hackman wasn't completely cut off from the world during his retirement. He remained active in the Santa Fe community, investing in local businesses and even contributing artwork to a restaurant he co-owned. But even in those moments of connection, he maintained a certain distance, a reluctance to let people get too close. It's a pattern that has only fueled speculation about what he might have been keeping to himself.
Longtime love, Betsy Arakawa, hantavirus. It's a rare flu-like disease linked to rats. And officials say Hackman's advanced Alzheimer's was so severe that he lived in their New Mexico house, or survived, might be the better word, for a week with his wife's body before he also passed away.
At the heart of this mystery is the question of who Gene Hackman really was. Was he simply a man who valued his privacy and wanted to live life on his own terms? Or is there more to his story, a hidden chapter that we may never fully understand? And if he did know things about Hollywood that others didn't, what might those secrets have been? Were they simply the kind of gossip that circulates in any industry? Or were they something much more serious? As the investigation into Gene and Betsy's passing continues, these questions remain unanswered. But one thing is clear. The life and legacy of Gene Hackman are far more complex than they may appear at first glance. He was a man of immense talent, a true icon of cinema, and yet he was also an enigma, a puzzle that even those closest to him struggled to piece together.
Was he aware that Miss Hackman had? And I think that question's difficult to answer, but I can tell you that he was in an advanced state of Alzheimer's, and it's quite possible that he was not aware that she was deceased.
In the end, perhaps the greatest mystery of all is how Gene Hackman managed to navigate the treacherous waters of Hollywood while remaining true to himself. He was a star who shone brightly but never let the spotlight consume him, a man who gave everything to his craft but kept a part of himself hidden from view. And maybe that's why his story continues to captivate us, because it reminds us that even the most celebrated lives are filled with complexities and contradictions. The tragic and mysterious circumstances surrounding Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa's final days have left us with more questions than answers. As we continue to unravel the threads of their story, we can't help but wonder, what secrets did Betsy's note hold, and could they shed light on the true nature of their reclusive life? Was their isolation a choice or a necessity, driven by fears or knowledge they couldn't share? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going as we seek to understand the enigma that was Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the mysteries that captivate us all.